Hello, this is Dr. Emma Hitt-Nichols, and this is the new FDA Approvals Podcast for June 10th through the 14th, 2024. First up this week, we have Adbry for atopic dermatitis. The FDA approved tralokinumab-ldrm, also known as Adbry, as a 300 milligram single-dose autoinjector for the treatment of moderate to severe atopic dermatitis in adults. This approval introduces a new delivery method offering a more convenient option by reducing the number of required injections by half compared to the pre-filled syringe. Adbry is a human monoclonal antibody that specifically binds to and inhibits the IL-13 cytokine, a primary driver of AD symptoms. Previously, Adbry was approved in December 2021 for adults with moderate to severe atopic dermatitis and in December 2023 for pediatric patients aged 12 and older. The approval of the 300 milligram autoinjector was granted to LEO Pharma Inc. Also this week, the FDA has approved repotrectinib, also called Augtyro, for the treatment of all solid tumors with neurotrophic tyrosine receptor kinase, also called NTRK gene fusions, in adults and adolescents aged 12 and older. This new tumor-agnostic approval allows use of Augtyro in advanced solid tumors where surgical removal would cause severe morbidity and which have progressed after initial treatment with no other alternative therapies. Augtyro, a tyrosine kinase inhibitor, works by blocking enzymes critical to cancer growth. Previously was approved in November of 2023 for treating non-small cell lung cancer with ROS1 gene fusions. The new approval is based on phase 1-2 clinical trials involving 15 types of advanced cancers driven by NTRK gene fusions. The FDA granted the approval of repotrectinib, or Augtyro, to Bristol Myers Squibb. This accelerated approval is based on overall response rates and duration of response, and additional clinical data may be required to confirm the drug's safety and efficacy. Also last week, FDA advisors unanimously recommended the approval of the Alzheimer's drugs Donanemab. The Peripheral and Central Nervous System Drugs Advisory Committee voted 11-0, affirming that Donanemab effectively slows early-stage Alzheimer's and its benefits outweigh the risks. The drug, made by Eli Lilly, targets amyloid plaques in the brain and could allow patients to discontinue treatment within a year if significant plaque reduction is achieved. Donanemab's approval process faced delays due to safety data requirements, with the FDA now reviewing traditional approval following an initial application for accelerated approval. The drug may have advantages over Leqembi, another approved Alzheimer's drug, as it requires monthly rather than biweekly infusions and may be discontinued for some patients. The FDA Advisory Committee emphasized the importance of aggressive treatment for Alzheimer's and recommended educational materials for doctors and patients regarding the drug's risks. The FDA's decision is expected in the coming months. And now a word from the supporter of this podcast, Nascent Medical. Attention all businesses in need of exceptional medical writing support. Nascent Medical is the solution. We are a team of skilled MD and PhD level medical writers who specialize in fast turnaround needs assessments, manuscripts, slide decks, ad board summaries, and more. Don't settle for anything less than excellence when it comes to your medical writing assistance. Visit nascentmc.com. That's nascentmc as in medicalcommunications.com. We're here so that you never have to be without medical writing help. One more time, that's nascentmc.com. Also last week, the FDA granted accelerated approval to elafibranor, also called Iqirvo, a first-in-class once-daily oral peroxisome proliferator activated receptor, PPAR, for the treatment of primary biliary cholangitis. This approval is for use in combination with ursodeoxycholic acid for patients with an inadequate response to ursodeoxycholic acid, or as monotherapy for those who cannot tolerate that agent. The approval was based on reductions in alkaline phosphatase. Elafibranor decreases the toxic effects of bile acid and inflammation by targeting PPAR alpha and delta. In a phase 2 trial, 161 patients aged 18 to 75 with PBC and an inadequate response to ursodeoxycholic acid were randomized to receive either elafibranor or placebo. In that trial, results showed that 51% of patients taking elafibranor achieved a biochemical response compared to 4% in the placebo group. The approval of elafibranor was granted to Genfit and Ipsen. Also last week, the FDA has granted full approval to selpercatinib, also called Retevmo, for the treatment of adult and pediatric patients with age 2 years and older with advanced or metastatic RET fusion-positive thyroid cancer who require systemic therapy and are refractory to radioactive iodine, if that is appropriate. Selpercatinib received accelerated approval for this indication in May 2020. The full approval is based on data from the phase 1/2 Libretto 001 trial, which demonstrated high overall response rates in both previously treated and systemic therapy-naive patients. Additional support for this approval came from the Libretto 121 trial, which showed that 60% of pediatric and young adult patients with RET fusion-positive thyroid cancer achieved an overall response rate. The approval of selpercatinib was granted to Eli Lilly and Company. Also last week, the FDA approved Abbott Laboratories' new continuous glucose monitoring CGM systems, Libre, Rio, and Lingo, for over-the-counter use. Libre Rio is intended for patients with type 2 diabetes who do not take insulin. This approval marks Abbott's first over-the-counter CGM offering for people with diabetes in the U.S., although other CGMs within its portfolio have been available without a prescription in other countries over the past decade. The system is designed for type 2 diabetes patients who usually manage their condition with lifestyle modifications. Lingo is targeted at consumers without diabetes who are seeking to improve their health and wellness. Users of Lingo will wear a biosensor on their upper arm for 14 days at a time, and they can track their glucose data via a coaching app on their phone, which provides customized coaching based on the data to help improve overall well-being. Both systems provide real-time glucose monitoring by using a small sensor that wirelessly transmits glucose data to a smartphone. CGMs are primarily used by patients with diabetes to help monitor their glucose levels and alert them to potential emergencies. And as an early adopter myself, I tried the Libre monitor through, I forget the name of it, but it was a sort of startup company. And if you try out that Lingo, if you don't have diabetes, try out that Lingo, and you will be amazed at the sugar content in all of the food that we eat in this world, even if you don't think it has sugar in it. So I'm going to get me one of those Lingo CGMs. I think everybody should try it out if they can. All right. So that's it for this week. Have a wonderful week, and I'll be back next Monday with all the latest coming from the FDA. Thank you so much.